Every week, a new band. Brought to you by NZ On Air. Active Live! Yeah.
Kia ora and welcome to Radioactive FM's Active Live, brought to you by New Zealand On Air, held in our very own Radioactive studio. I'm Stella Ray and I'll be your host for today. Today, we have Weka. Kia ora, guys. How are you?
Kia ora. Thank you so much for having us.
Oh my God, our pleasure. That was magical. Weka is based in Te Whanganui-a-Tara, Wellington. Their instrumental electronic sound is diverse and provoking, super inspired by the likes of the Chemical Brothers, Groove Armada, and Massive Attack. If you guys are into that, stay in tune. They take you on a journey from downbeat and post-rock through techno and world music. First off, I would love to ask where your guys' name comes from. I love that funny little bird.
Yeah, it's fun, eh? It was, not that glamorous a story, but I was shopping around for a name for the band, and my ex at the time just handed me a book of Kiwi birds, and I was like, well, rolls off the tongue pretty easy, and boom, bit cheeky, bit elusive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was the idea.
Oh, you're wearing the right outfit for
Well,
that.
I've got my tui, but as Ali mentioned, I probably should get a Weka just to really match the theme. But I just love Kiwi animals.
Yeah, same. Now, you guys have two massive shows coming up. Newtown Fest, Cuba Duper. Have you guys played these events before?
No, it's our first time playing Cupa Duper, and Newtown Fest. So we're really looking forward to it.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Where can we find you?
Online, or we're talking about at the gigs?
At the gigs.
Yeah, so we are playing at the Moon's After Party for Newtown Festival. So we'll be on at 10:15 p.m. right after Grains, who is another amazing band. I think you had them in here last year. And Cupa Duper, we are playing on the Glover Park stage by Rogan Vagabond, and that's on the Sunday the 30th at 1 p.m.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
Oh.
And, I mean, I should have asked this question first, but what was that track? That was super mythical and magical.
Yeah, so Moving Forward was one I wrote a long time ago, almost 15 years ago now, and what's been really amazing, and you might touch on this later, but bringing in Kaho and Ali into the band just really turned it into something much more than I ever thought it could be. And so I just was inspired by a lot of world music back then, particularly those sorts of percussion and that. And yeah, it was quite a long time ago, so I can't remember exactly how I made it, but it was quite a nice one to breathe new life into, thanks to these two.
Oh, bless. And I guess, I'd love to ask, you started as a solo project. How did that kind of grow? And you get these awesome guys
so I
on
think
board.
I was looking actually on the Facebook the other day, and I started that page in December 2009. So I think I started toying around 2008, 2009, just solo. And then I got brave enough to get out there and give it a go with some solo shows. 2012, 2013, played Twisted Frequency and quite a few shows around here, and that was great. It was cool just to get out there and perform and give it a go. Because music was always that passion. I went to uni. I did music up at the school there, but there was always something in the back of my mind that I felt like was missing. I was never that great at programming drums, for example, and so once I did my big OE, went to London, did some other art projects and whatnot, I came back, and just a fortuitous meeting with Ali at a mutual friend's wedding, we're like, oh, do you want to play guitar on some tracks? And she was like, yes, sweet. And then I've been jamming with Kaho, and Kaho was real keen to come and play some drums. And as soon as we got together, it just was like, yes, this was what I has always wanted. And those acts that you mentioned at the start, I've seen all of them live, and they all have epic bands, even though a lot of them started with just one or two people. Yeah.
Oh, bless him. In those early days, what were you using as a solo artist?
It was somewhat similar to what I use now. So Ableton Live, a smaller keyboard and just a little controller. It was relatively similar, just a bit of kind of MIDI keys, and some backing tracks and kind of live, a little bit of more live remixing, but we have moved it into a little bit more, a few more devices and a few more instruments, and it makes it a little bit more dynamic performing now. So
Yeah, and a
that's,
few more
yeah.
peeps. You got the full upgrades. Epic. I would love to hear another song.
Oh, we would love to perform one.
If you're just tuning in, welcome to Radioactive's Active Live, brought to you by New Zealand On Air Music, hosted by myself, Stella Ray. We have Weka in our live room at the moment, and not the bird, the band. Tell me about that song. That was, I feel like it went in a few places.
Yeah. So that was more of the newer direction. So I bought a Deluge. Shout out to Synthstrom, local company. Amazing ability to just jam out something really quickly, and I just got a cool little couple of tracks. And this is what's so great again about having these two. And they started adding on some different bits, but we just loved the idea of being able to have a little bit of that, that big jump up moment. Whereas, but we also still try to retain some elements of improvisation and that lower sort of keys and guitar bit. So we try to balance that because I like the improvising side of keeping stuff kind of fresh for us and fresh for the audience, and it kind of makes it a little bit more. I don't know. It just adds a bit more to the performance for us. Yeah.
And it's a progression with all of your guys. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So I know you guys are working on an album due to release this year. How's that progressing? And is there any specific themes for the album overall?
It's a good question. So yes, we have pretty much everything that we need. We just need to get some guitar down and the drums down. But essentially, like I always liked the idea of an album that was reflective of a live show. Like I really want to take an audience on a journey. So that's kind of how I'm imagining it. Just thinking, okay, if I was a DJ, for example, where would I take an audience? Like I'd start, pretty easy, build them up, take them out, up and down, that sort of thing. So I think that's the main inspiration. It's like what our live show would be like, but with that extra that you get with the album,
Yeah, where do you think the album starts and where do you think the album finishes in this, imaginary journey?
I like that kind of that introspective, mysterious beginning. You've got to come down and see us. You'll have this very special live intro that we play that I'm not actually sure I'll put it on the album. Anyway, just to get people interested, but then I like, smashing you in the face straight away and being like, whoa, okay, right, we're here. Like, this is happening. And then that, like, obviously you have to be respectful of people's energy and see if they can, like, follow you. But then obviously by the end. So I think we'll put, some of our bigger tracks at the start and more jump up ones down the end, I think. Yeah, that's probably how we'll do it.
Oh, nice. Nice. I can't wait to see and hear. And when you guys are, in the studio cooking up some new music, what does that process look like to you guys? And, does someone take the lead with an idea or, is it more like kind of pieced together?
So at this stage, because I had, like, when I went away, I'd built up a pretty big stock of ideas and backing tracks and stuff, and both Kaho and Ali were in a place in their lives where they're pretty keen just to kind of come in and play along to those tracks and just jam them out. So I'll tend to come with either a semi-completed song or some ideas, and we'll just jam. Like, that is what we love doing. We start our practices with a jam, and then I try my hardest not to be precious about it, because that's one of the things I really enjoy about having Ali and Kaho, because we come from quite different backgrounds musically. So Ali is very like metal and rock and that sort of stuff, and Kaho was more like funky, bluesy, even like a bit of Irish folk sort of vibes. Yeah, mix it up a bit. Mix it up, yeah. And then I've obviously had the electronic, and I think I want to let that come through. Like, I don't want to just be like, this is my thing, this is how it has to be. I want our kind of group dynamic to create the song, essentially. Yeah.
I like that. Now, I found out that you majored in sonic arts at uni.
Yeah.
Did that change, like, how did that change the way that you thought about music or that you heard music?
That was funny. And for any like new students out there, in particular, when I was reading the course book, it was like, yeah, electronic music composition. I was like, yeah, let's do that. That sounds great. The music that I like. And then it did not turn out to be like that. It was Karlheinz Stockhauser. It was like, it's kind of like sound art is the sound collage. It's almost like there's no meter, there's no key. It's just sound at its most free. It's quite amazing. Like any sound has a musical validity to it. And I stuck with it, and I actually felt that it really expanded my palette, my ability to think about how to put together a song, instead of more kind of traditional ways of making them, I guess. And yeah, it was such a huge help, and especially technically as well. There was quite a lot of like music technology, because I used to work with a group called the Interrupt Collective. We did interactive art installations down at the Performance Arcade, and so that was a really big part of like doing interactive sensors and stuff like that. So that was quite a cool angle for that course as well. So if you did expect that any first years out there, like, stick with it. It's awesome, trust me.
Oh, cool. Now, I see that you guys Weka released their first EP in 2013. Did you decide to take a bit of a hiatus within that, or was that kind of in your solo to finding all these awesome people?
It was pretty cliche, really. Like I released it, I did some tours, and it was great fun. But then like I said, cliche, had a bit of a quarter life crisis, and everything just went a bit topsy-turvy with mental health and things like that. And I just needed to change what I was doing. Obviously, working in the arts is really tough. There's not much money. And so I retrained as a primary school teacher, and then left the country essentially for a whole host of reasons, partly because I was taking the city for granted, I'm kind of from here, and I just needed to get to clear my head. And so I went away. I was away for 8 years.
Yeah, wow.
And then, came back fresh, appreciative, more grateful for being here. And I'm so glad.
And good ideas.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
It
did refill the kind of cup a bit on that front. Like, it was, because I did experience a lot of different things. I did some work for the Guildhall, some like sound art stuff, and like it was, really what I needed. Absolutely. And so coming back now, we're just so excited to get back into this. This is like our start. We're going to do the album, and then next summer is going to be the full tour. Can't wait.
OMG, we've got to keep in tune for that. Now, should we have another song?
Yeah, looking forward. Song 39.
if you're just tuning in, you are listening to Weka on Radioactive FM Active Live, brought to you by New Zealand On Air Music, hosted by Stella Ray, myself. Thank you for that track. That was a little bit more, I feel like, I want to say happy. It sounded quite uplifting to me.
That's really interesting because I guess it's probably reflective of where I was. That's another new one. Trying to mix it up. Don't want to do too much fall to the floor sort of electronica. But yeah, maybe you've picked up on how I was feeling at the time when I...
It kind of sounded like a question to me.
I like
Anyways.
that. I like that, yeah.
I hear your influences throughout your guys' craft so much. Where are some sounds or some genres that you would like to explore a little bit more as Weka?
You can throw some out, team. I'm definitely... Like, one side is more dancey, so like techno-y, trancey sort of stuff, like the sort of stuff that you find at the depth of the night and the crowd are just really, just want to groove. And that's one area, but like I'm definitely...
I can hear the trance.
Yeah, I think we've got a couple we're not going to play them today, but we have a couple of those in there. But yeah, funk. Yeah, we have actually one. Funk is another interesting one as well. I think like that groovy bass line, because Ellie just brought over her bass guitar, and I think that is definitely something that we could really
So groovy,
do.
Ellie.
Yeah, Ellie's pretty groovy.
Sorry, what did you say that track was called again?
Okay, so that's one of our unnamed tracks. We currently call it Song 39 because that's what it was called on the Deluge.
Great. Now, starting to close up our interview, I guess I'd ask you to just reiterate what times you guys are playing at Newtown Fest and Cuba Duper, and where can we find you online?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Newtown Festival, 2nd of March, we'll be playing at the Moon at 10:15 p.m, just after Grains. And at Cuba Duper, we'll be on Sunday the 30th at 1 p.m. on the Glover Park stage. You can find us on most of the sites: Facebook, Bandcamp, Spotify, SoundCloud. I tend to keep the Facebook most updated, but I know that the younger crowd probably need to move into the TikTok at some point. But that's a later base thing.
And I must say, you playing after Grains is such an awesome pairing. Yeah,
I think that's kind of because I put on a show at Moon last September, and I went to their album release at Meow Grains, and I was like, yes, definitely got to have them. And I got Zook to come, and I also got Tyson Smith. And it was, as soon as we saw Grains, I was just like, yep, that. Yeah.
How fluid, I can imagine.
And Zook's amazing too. Like everyone loves Ed.
Now, my last question here for our active lives, we often have a little thing at the end called the pass it forward question. Now, usually we ask the band before to ask a question forward to the next active live band who plays. Since you guys are our first active live for the year, you get a question from the Radioactive crew. What is your guys' favourite beach here in Wellington?
Favourite beach? Throw some out. I know my one.
You're only allowed to have one.
Okay.
Princess Bay, maybe?
Oh, that's mine too. Done.
Yeah?
Princess Bay.
Ellie agrees?
Yes, just nodding vigorously.
Thank you so much, Weka. You can catch them at Cuba Duper and Newtown Fest this March. This has been Radioactive FM's Active Live, brought to you by New Zealand On Air Music. I've been your host, Stella Ray. Kia ora.
Active Live. Friday, 3:30. Every week a new band. In studio. Brought to you by NZ On Air.